exec, el exec, el exec. El Vélez, el Vélez, el Vélez. El fenómeno que todos quieren ser. El chamaquito que no pueden entender.
How we doing, guys? Welcome to episode. I love how I forget the episode number. You know, as soon as I start, I usually have it open 108. Okay, 108 of the Exec Talk podcast. I'm your host, Elvalez. How we doing today? Doing great? Good. Because we're about to flame. About to break down. The breakdowns are going to get a little bit deeper. We're in the Eastern and Western Conference Finals. We don't play around no more. This is the top four. There's a lot to break down. A lot of thoughts on the Eastern Conference series. We have the Western Conference game one starting tonight. I got the Wolves. I think Ant-Man going to come out shooting. I think that defense is going to come out pressing. They're at home. So I think overall, we'll want to talk about that. But first of all, I know I haven't talked about this in a couple episodes, couple of weeks, but we were following and everything. But then after the dust settled, it was clear as day that Kendrick won, right? But how as a, not even as a Kendrick fan, but as a hip hop fan, how do you validate that Kendrick won and kind of bodied Drake? Well, when your bop of a diss track that you dropped after everything, you dropped after Meet the Grams, you dropped Meet the Grams 30 minutes later, or 50 minutes later after Drake dropped Family Matters, body him on that, and then you drop Mustard with Not Like Us, and this shit blows the world up and debuts at number one. That's when you know you got bodied. When this man makes a diss record that says OVO lover boy, OVO pedophile. Yo, Kendrick is crazy, bro. And you got people saying, you know, like all the lyrics, especially OVO, like stat this way. Like, once you got people doing that in the club, oh, it's over. It's over. That's it. You feel me? Like, that's it. And he dropped not just the number one record, but the number 3 records is Euphoria, and then Family Matters comes in at number 7. So I think with that right there, I think that the song has legs. I think Kendrick is gonna do a video for it. Kendrick has also, I think, an album coming out soon, maybe later this month, possibly. So I just like, for the people in the stands, because you guys are stands, okay? You're not fans, because fans understand when a battle has been lost. A stan is a person that you tell them you lost, and they say, no, but look what they say here. Oh no, but it's because of Drake. It's like, man, this man said, I have the circadian rhythm of a shooting star. That means I can disappear 3 years off the face of the map, drop an album, and I'll still go number one. Say that type of longevity, that type of star power, that type of impact, and magnetic field, basically, for the industry and the culture. Man, ain't Drake no got that, man. Come on. Let's really be talking. And I'm not a Drake hater or anything. I like Drake, especially Take Care and Nothing Was the Same, and even Views, but don't go up against a real, a person that embodies music as a whole. Every single diss track was a different type of flow. Every single diss track was a different type of tempo. Every single diss track was a different type of style. Sat you down on Euphoria. Told you, hey, come here. Let me tell you a couple things. Then on 616 in LA, made his own tailor made, basically, and said, hey, yo, young fella, I suggest you don't go there. And then Drake drops Family Matters. And then you get Meet the Grams. And then you get Not Like Us. And then Drake is done. The Hard Part 6, he bows out. They say it publicly, TDE, Top Dog, and he says the it's over, that, Kendrick won. And Drake says, yo, it was a friendly bout. It was nice, whatever, trying to take the publicity out of it. But Not Like Us is running the world right now. Even in his own city, they're making videos, dancing and singing the song, man. So, I just wanted to say that, get that shit off, because like Kendrick is really that guy, and I can't wait for his new album. And I don't think Drake is having No Summer's Revenge. If No Summer Sweet 16. If you Summer 16, I don't think he's having that type of tour, that type of moment, anytime soon, because I think this Kendrick thing is gonna last a fair bit. But let's get to the sports. All right. Couple of things on the football side. T. Higgins not at training camp, waiting for an extension. He wants something what Michael Pittman got, which is like 27.5. They lowballed him at 22, but they still got Jamar Chase to pay next year. So, and Jamar Chase is waiting for Justin Jefferson's deal. That means Jamar Chase is either going to be like, yo, match me with my homeboy, or like, let me get over. I think they'll match him. And I think it's going to come somewhere around 33, maybe 34, possibly $35 million a year for Justin Jefferson. I think that Jamar taking 33, 34, even 30, I think, 30 is what Tyreek is at. So maybe like 31, 32, 32 and a half. I think he'd be happy with that. If not, they just straight match him. And then to keep T. Higgins, you're not keeping a number one receiver that could be a number one receiver and anywhere else in the league. You're not keeping him down for that much. You have him for this year. He's not at OTAs. It doesn't have to be until training camp. So I think, the running back was, if they win this year, then they'll find the money to pay both of them if they win. Now, if they don't win, I think T is looking for a new team next year, and a lot of teams are going to want to have T on their team. So it's not like, you're not looking at the fact that like, oh, T, we can get him, but this and that. Nah. Like, there's no problems there. Like, it's T. Higgins. That's what you're getting. You're getting a 6'4" monster, that can get over the top, and he's only getting better. I mean, he's only like 24. So, another guy that hasn't been showing up to camp, Brandon Ayuk. And that's another thing. So they got Debo, you got George Kittle, you got CMC, you got Brock Purdy, Trent Williams. Your actual number one receiver is Brandon Ayuk. That's your actual number one. Okay, what do I mean by actual number one? Debo is not a number one receiver mold in technique. Ayuk is a technician. Yes, he has speed. Yes, he's powerful. And everything, but Ayuk is a technician. His best attribute is his route running. His second best attribute is his strong hands. That's what he is. And his third is toughness. He's very tough. So, maintaining balance, taking hits and stuff like that. Then comes the speed and stuff like that. But his route running is his number one attribute. He is the true number one there. Debo is a number one offset as a running back, but skill for skill, wide receiver wise, Brandon Ayuk is a more polished receiver. That's why they say, oh, if you can really, if you can match up, if you're a true corner, if you're a Sauce Gardner, you're like, a Charvarius Ward, a McDuffie, if you're truly one of those guys, you can cover him. Same thing Charvarius said about L'Jarius Sneed. He said same thing he said about Tyreek when he bodied him in the playoff game. Like, you can't get off press. You know what I'm saying? Debo is the same thing. Debo, if you're a true corner, technique, Sauce Gardner, Pat Surtain, Marcus Lattimore, like if you're Marshawn Lattimore, like if you're a true corner, then you could cover Debo. But the thing is with Debo, it's not just being a true corner, it's having the size and the strength to keep up with Debo and then the speed. And that's where corners get into trouble. That's where safeties get into trouble, and then you get the mismatches with linebackers where like, oh, they don't got the speed. Ah, damn, but then the safety's not powerful enough. Then a corner is not big enough, so that's where you get the Debo mismatches. But the number one receiver on that team is Brandon Ayuk. And if they lose Brandon Ayuk because they don't want to extend him, I mean, you're talking about that's a $25 million receiver. And, places that would use a guy like that to the best of their ability. I'm looking at Washington, putting him next to Terry McLaurin. You lost Curtis Samuel. I'm just spitballing here, That's somebody Aaron Rodgers would definitely be like, yo, knock the door on that one. The Texans can't fit another superstar on there. The Colts possibly, but now you also have Adonai Mitchell, which is like a T. Higgins type in size. Tampa Bay, that could be a place right there for Baker. Mike is getting older. You put him next to Mike and Chris. You got a trio right there. That's a place. That's a place. The Packers, Ayuk is young enough that he can join into that crew right there with Watson and Jalen, Reed, Dubs, But overall, if you don't pay these people, if you don't pay these guys, they're gonna go to better team. They're gonna go to other teams, and they're gonna hurt you. They're gonna hurt you, and you're gonna be like, "Damn, I wish we paid him." Yeah, I wish we paid him, and that's tough. And that's tough. If you guys see me moving around, I'm actually looking. No lie, I lost my phone on the table, guys. I don't know where my phone is, and that's how I that's how I give you my stats and stuff. I seriously just lost my phone. This is nuts. How does that happen? I just had it. Man. Okay. Well, this is going to be bad here. All right. So, Ayuk and T. Higgins not showing up. Okay. So, let's talk about Monaco. Okay, this weekend. If we're speaking seriously, I believe that it's probably not going to be that competitive of a race. And as a Formula One fan, it's hard for me to say that. I don't like to say that, but unfortunately, that's what it is. Because Monaco is such an old circuit, and it's in the streets of Monaco. So, like, it's such an old circuit. It's a very European type of town, type of place. So very skinny roads. And for the cars that they're racing right now, you got to understand, they used to run the old tube frames in the 1950s, 1960s. The old Lotuses and Brabhams and, Cosworths. So they used to run the real, like, missile cars. Those were super small. Even towards the 90s, the F1 cars were small. Like, they could get around Monaco and you could pass. But, starting in, like, I want to say like the 2010s. The cars just got too big, too wide, and now they can't pass. Like it's literally like coming out of the circle where the flower thing is. It's either a giant tree flower thing or it's actually a fountain. They come out around there and they go into the tunnel, and the tunnel's the only place these people can pass unless they're so close on the last corner. So close. And they can get onto the straightaway. If not, it's into turn 1, lap 1. Because you're never going to get close enough to get, into you're never going to get close enough again, especially to Verstappen. Like if we're being like actually realistic, you're not getting, I found my phone. You're not getting to Verstappen. And that's obvious. I mean, unfortunately, as fans, we have to swallow that pill that until somebody actually starts dethroning these people or starts giving them a challenge on a consistent basis, I'm not talking about just 1 or 2 races, I'm talking about a consistent basis, they're going to keep dominating. All right. NASCAR's at the Coca-Cola 600 in Charlotte. Longest race of the year. I expect the Toyotas to be strong. I expect the Chevys to be strong, especially Hendrick. For this type of race, experience trumps all. It can be a bloodbath. I mean, it could be an absolute bloodbath. And what I mean by that, so much can happen in 600 miles. It's the type of race where you can get a lap down 10 laps in, get the lap back 30 laps later, and race for the win at the end. You can spin, be a couple laps down, you play the right strategy, you stay out, you get your 2 laps back, and you can race for the win. Like, it's that you can get from the back. You can start last and win this race. So, like, it's a very interesting race. It's the longest, so there's a certain level of stamina that you need. That's why I say Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott, I look for to be very strong. Denny Hamlin, of course, Martin Truex Jr. I want Ty Gibbs to be strong, but I'm not sure if this is the type of race where he would win, although I believe he can win in anything. He just hasn't won. The Fords might be strong. They've been strong the last 3 weeks. We'll see how it goes. They've won the last 2 weeks. Logano and Keselowski. Maybe Keselowski got some momentum. Buescher. Also, gotta always watch out for the Martin Truex Jr.'s, the Denny Hamlins. Tyler Reddick is going to be strong in this race. So like William Byron. Those are the people that I'm looking for to come out of this race for sure. And then the Indy 500. It looks, from qualifying, practice, it looks like the Penske cars, Scott McLaughlin, which is on pole, Will Power, and Joseph Newgarden. It looks like they're going to dominate. But the thing about the Indy 500, it's like you can have the fastest car, but you don't want to be first on the last lap. And it's so funny because it's literally like you sitting as a fan and the guy in front is a sitting duck coming out of turn 4. If the guy behind him just stays right behind him. Like if you just run a normal lap at Indianapolis and stay behind the car in front of you, in the front stretch, you're going to be able to pass him. So, like, it always comes down to a last lap pass, whether that's in turn 1, going into turn 3, or heading to the line. It's an exciting race. Pit stops are crucial. Alex Palou lost his on a pit stop last year. Anybody can win, but at the same time, the favorites do win sometimes. But anybody can win. You have had Takuma Sato win 2 of them. Marcus Ericsson. Like, these are non-champions. But you've also had Joseph Newgarden win it. Will Power. Scott Dixon. Elio Castroneves, the legends of the sport, Dario Franchitti, the legends of the sport has also won it, Tony Kanaan. So I like Alex Palou. I think that he's poised to win it this year, the professor of precision. So I think I got Alex Palou, but I would not be surprised if a Herta, Scotty Mack wins it from pole, even Will Power. Kyle Larson starting 5th. If he wins this race and then goes to the Coca-Cola 600 and either has a top 5 or wins, I think we found our new Mario Andretti because he was the last guy to do that shit. So, and that was a long time ago. It was in the 80s. So, I'm excited for the race. I'm always excited for the race. All 3 of them. And then, of course, we have playoff games. So let's start. Boston wins game 1. As I said they would. Now, the journey to this win, very interesting. And then we saw and we learned a lot about how this series is going to play out because of what happened in this game, I believe. So Boston wins game 1 in OT. So let me set up the scene. 12-0 in the first quarter. And I'm like, oh, shit. Here we go again. Here comes the game 1 blowout. We thought that Indiana could keep up with pace. They were turning the ball over. They were making shots. Okay, it looks like, Boston's going to, deal with these people. But what does Boston do the best? Play with their food. Now, it's all fine and dandy when it's Miami with no Jimmy Butler, no Terry Rozier. That's all. That's real fine and dandy. When you got no threat against you. When it's the Cavs with no Donovan Mitchell the last 2 games and no Jared Allen the whole series. Yeah, that's nice. So they can't fight back. So you have an easy win right there. Game 1, all right, we got them out the crib. That's it. Let's go try to get game 2, which you guys haven't done. But when your food starts fighting back, when it starts giving you some indigestion, when it starts fighting back, like, hey, don't brush me off like that, it can get a little tricky. Now, based on what happened in game 1, I was considering maybe picking Boston in 6 instead of 5. And I also see a possibility that this could go 7. But as of right now, I'm going to stick to my guns and I'm going to say Boston in 5. Now, if we look at this game as a whole, it was exciting. There was not a dull moment about this game, especially at the end. Okay? But what I don't like about the Boston Celtics, that I also don't like about the Lakers, we're going to start, before we get to the end of the game and everything, I'm just going to give you guys one stat. I'm going to give you guys one stat that I want you guys to sit on while we go through this. And the stat is something very simple. If we go to how many free throws Boston shot, it is something to behold. Truthfully, it is something to behold. The Indiana Pacers in 48 plus 52 minutes or 53 minutes had 10 free throw attempts. 10? What are we doing here? I saw some fouls. I am not. This is not me caping for the Indiana Pacers because I want because I hate Boston. No. This is just wanting consistency. Okay? Consistency. This is the same thing that happened Denver and the Timberwolves. In the last few games, especially when Denver was winning, there was zero consistency with the whistle. Zero. Okay? If I see a rake around across the arm, first of all, the driving layup by, I don't think it was Tyrese. It was off a steal. And Derek White literally ran across the hand, I think, of Aaron Naismith. And they didn't call a take foul, and that's exactly what it was supposed to be. But besides that, it was 10-30. And you say, yo, Velez, but 10, it's only a 20 free throw attempt difference. See, the problem is that they only had attempted 2 heading into the fourth quarter. So between the fourth quarter and overtime, you could say that they got a little bit more, but some of them were forced by a game situation. So that's where we're going to start. We're going to start 30-10. Okay? Now let's go through the box score. You had Pascal Siakam, the second best player technically on the Indiana Pacers. He gave you 24 points. Okay, on 12 of 23, efficient, over 50%. 0 of 2 from 3, 12 rebounds, and 7 assists. Pretty good game from Pascal. Naismith, 14 points, 6 out of 12, 1 for 5 from 3, 6 rebounds. Miles Turner, 39 minutes, 9 for 13. Attaboy, Miles. 3 for 4 from 3, 75%. Pretty good. Low volume, 4, but it's average for him. 23 points, 10 rebounds. Nembhard, 5 for 10, 2 of 4 from 3, 12 points. Tyrese Halliburton, 8 for 18, 6 for 14 from 3, 10 assists, 3 rebounds, 25 points. The bench, Obi Toppin, 15 points, 6 out of 8 shooting. 1 for 2 from 3. TJ McConnell, 6 of 11 in 26 minutes, 13 points. Ben Shepherd, 2 points. On to the Boston Celtics before we get, into the nitty-gritty. Tatum, 12 for 26, 2 of 8 from 3, 12 rebounds, 4 assists, 36 points in 46 minutes. Al Horford, 5 for 15, 3 of 12 from 3, 6 rebounds, 15 points. We're going to get back to that 5 for 15. Drew Holiday, the real unsung hero of this game. 10 of 16, 4 of 8 from 3, 7 rebounds, 8 assists, 28 points. That's Drew from Milwaukee. Derek White, 5 for 13, 3 of 8 from 3, 9 assists, 15 points, 6 rebounds. Jaylen Brown, 10 of 20, 1 of 4 from 3. It was a big 3 though. 7 rebounds, 5 assists, 26 points. The bench, Luke Cornett, 5 points on 2 of 3 shooting. Sam Hauser, 0 of 2. And Peyton Pritchard, 8 points, 3 of 4, 2 of 3 from 3. Splits. Indiana, 54% from the field. 37% from 3. So average. Boston, 48% from the field. 33% from 3. So how in the world do you allow the Celtics to get this win? You get 44 rebounds to 43, so that's a wash. 30 assists to 38 by the Pacers. fast game. So what happened? I'm going to tell you what happened. The Pacers choked away a win in the Eastern Conference Finals. They did one of these. Okay? One of these. In Boston. They withstood the 12-0 run. They started fighting back. They fought back. They were it was between 10-12 and 3 the whole game. 10-12 and 3, 10-12 and 3, 10-12 and 2 until the second half, until the halftime where they were tied 64-64. And you were thinking, damn, 64-64, no blowout yet. Maybe this could be a competitive game. Tyrese Halliburton doing his thing. Miles Turner hitting it. The pace was frantic. They're running up and down the court. I just kept telling myself, if Indiana could get into the fourth quarter with a lead or even close, they can win this game. What do? Precisely that. They take the lead with... Let's see here. They swapped the lead here in the second. Indiana had the lead with 11:25 left in the third quarter is when they took the lead for the first time. And they got the lead all the way to 90. Wait, I'm looking at the wrong line. There's the yellow line. Oh, man. So Indiana takes the lead. (64-64) halftime. Indiana takes the lead 11:25 in the third. Tyrese Halliburton driving layup, right? Then they battle for the lead for the next couple minutes. Then Boston goes up. Boston goes up 92-79. 13. Indiana battles back again. And then Indiana starts kind of taking control until the last 10 seconds of the game. And it was a stretch where it was so evident that Indiana has not learned that although they play a style that is turbo times 10, okay? It's like pressing the R2 button in Madden and just letting it go, or in FIFA, and just letting it go until it runs empty. What happens? If you run fast and you're so used to running fast mentally, that leads to careless mistakes. What are careless mistakes in basketball? Turnovers. And the Pacers had 21 or 22 for 35 Boston Celtics points. You can't do that on the road, game one of an Eastern Conference Finals, because you're giving the other team too many chances to stay in it. You were supposed to blow them out. You got to a point where you could have put 10-point lead on them. So what happened? They're up 6. Okay? They're up 6 after a Nembhard, or up 4 after a Nembhard fadeaway. It was a time where it was just back and forth. Okay. 2 possessions. 2 turnovers. The first one is a turnover, and I count it as a turnover because it was a killer's mistake on Tyrese, and he had a couple in this game. He's not getting absolved from this, even though he had a great game. When you are up in the last minute of the game, you don't have to run fast. There is no offense you have to run. They have to foul you. You don't got to push the pace. You slow it down, And if they foul you, you go to the line and you take the game away for them at the line. No, he tried to push, takes a 28-footer out of rhythm. He hasn't been hitting the whole fourth quarter, the three. You know, he hasn't hit one in a couple minutes. And I think he missed the last two that he had taken before this one. Takes a 28-footer with 15 seconds left in the shot clock. Under a minute to play with the lead. Lack of game and score awareness. Lack of game and score awareness. That is stuff that you learn when you've been through playoff battles. They had the same problem against the Knicks. They could not execute down the stretch because they turned over the ball too much at the beginning of the Knicks series. That's what happened. Same thing with Orlando. They had a lead. No, Orlando went against the Cavs. My bad. Against the Milwaukee Bucks when they took them to overtime. You know? So, what does this say? Well, after that three, Celtics come down. They miss a bunch of... they caught 4 offensive rebounds in a row off of missed shots. I'm talking about missed layups, open 3 from Jason Tatum. I knew he was going to brick that shit. I saw that. As soon as he caught that ball and he took a sidestep, I'm talking about the one in regulation, wide open. I was like, he going to miss this shit. Clank. Miss. He missed the turnaround jumper from like 10 feet. Missed that off the back. So I'm thinking, okay, this game's over. All right. So it comes for the Indiana Pacers to inbound the ball. Rule number 1 of inbounding the ball when the game is waning. Run to your basket. Don't run to the other team's basket. What does Pascal Siakam do? He sees that Nembhard. First of all, Nembhard should not be throwing that ball in. It should be an experienced guy. TJ McConnell, Miles Turner, somebody that knows Pascal Siakam, somebody that knows how to pass the ball in crunch time situations. Nembhard is in his second year. Okay? First mistake. Second mistake. When the counting starts for the 5-second violation, Pascal's still on the other half of, so on his half of the court, but Tyrese is not doing nothing to get open. I didn't see him flash. I didn't see nothing. You know, he could have been blanketed, but at the same time, like, in that moment, you as the star, you have to go get that ball. You just have to. It is what you're supposed to do. You're the one that's going to get fouled. You win it at the line, and he's a good free throw shooter. So after like 2 seconds of nobody getting open, Pascal Siakam just starts darting to the other side of the court, basically the Boston side of the court, their side of the court to score. And instead of basically he has an Aaron Naismith, Jaylen Brown on his back, on his hip, following him like a corner. And instead of cutting to the pass where Jaylen Brown would have to go through you and possibly foul you, you're already in the bonus. In order to try to get the steal, no, he runs across straight and Nembhard throws the ball out front where Jaylen Brown can jump in the front, tap it, and it still goes off of Pascal Siakam's hands. Turnover. 10 seconds left. You give them one more shot. What happens? They try to run. They basically run a confusion play. Mazzulla said this after the game. They run a confusion play because as soon as they go into the ball screen, Jaylen Brown pops out. Pascal's supposed to basically switch there. Supposed to switch. He's supposed to switch. And They don't switch. So then Derek White picks when Jaylen Brown pops out to the 3-point line. Mind you, this is 10 seconds left. 10 seconds. They have to inbounds the ball from underneath their basket. So as soon as Jaylen Brown pops out to the 3-point line, he receives the ball. Pascal's 2 steps behind because Derek White sets a screen on him because they didn't switch. As soon as that happens, I'm like, okay, Pascal got back. Jaylen still has the ball in his hand. Okay? So, and it was down. It wasn't up. It was down. Now, I get Pascal not trying to get a foul there. But if the ball's just there and it's less than 10 seconds, yes, he's behind the 3-point line. But if I hit all ball, this game's over. Now, people haven't talked about that, but, Jaylen Brown, double clutches, hits a 3, super tough. Although Pascal could have done this. He didn't do it. He didn't put his hand up. So basically, Jaylen Brown got a clean shot, and he made it. Tied. 5.7 seconds left on the other side. They pass it Tyrese Halliburton off the inbounds. What does he do? Nothing. Runs to the fucking corner on the other side. Sorry for the language. Runs to the corner and gets off a bullshit shot that hits the backboard. As soon as that shit went to overtime, I knew that they were going to lose. Because their momentum was taken away from them. Jaylen, listen. I don't want to hear you Jason Tatum stands and everything. Okay, he had 36. He had 10 in OT. But he missed like 3 game-winning buckets in regulation. Now, he came in OT, got the layup, he put the, how do I say? He basically put the game on ice. Now, Indiana didn't execute down the stretch. We could talk about Tyrese Halliburton turning the ball over like 3 times, tripping over his own, like still trying to push the pace for no reason with the lead, even in OT. But the number one mistake here, besides all this, was that Rick Carlisle had a timeout during the inbounds play with 10 seconds left and did not call a timeout. If you see Andrew Nembhard not being able to bring in the ball by second number 3, I'm like, yo, timeout. I have a timeout. Let me move the ball forward and all we have to do is inbound the ball. They have to foul. We're up by 3. So they tricked away that game in overtime. You can talk about the referees with 30 free throws and all that, but you still tricked away that game. Now, let me say about what I feel about the series now after this game. Although everybody believes that game 2 will be an absolute Boston blowout, I beg to differ. And the reason why I beg to differ is because how, after that game 1 back and forth, they ran at the Pacers' pace. You have to understand that without Kristaps Porzingis, Al Horford is the biggest liability against the guards. Tyrese Halliburton, TJ McConnell, Andrew Nembhard, Naismith, like Pascal, they picked on him. Relentlessly picked on him. Picked on him in pick and roll. Picked on him in one-on-one. He can go against big guys, but he cannot go against the fast guys. We know this. He got cooked by Steph Curry in the finals. So, with no Kristaps Porzingis, he's supposed to come back in game 4. We'll see. We'll see how he plays too. If I'm Indiana, I'm like, oh, we can beat these guys. We can beat them. We can win game 2. Now, it's going to feel like you have to win 5 games. Shout out to, I believe Colin Cowherd is the one that said this. It's like it feels like you have to win 5 games because you basically had 1-1, tricked that off, and now you have to win 4 more. So it's going to be 5-2, the series, or 5-3. However, with the amount of defensive, I don't want to say like bothering, but definitely the pace and the rebounding. Horford not being able to get out to Miles Turner for the threes. Kornet not being able to get out to Miles Turner. Like, without KP, this is the mission for Indiana. Try to get these next three. Try to get game 2, game 3, game 4. You haven't lost at home, so you should be able to get game 3, game 4. Game 4, excuse me. But if you get game 2, it is 3-2 and now, or 3-1, and now KP comes back game 4 in Boston. Game 5, they said game 4. I think if it's 2-2, it's probably they might delay it a little bit. So before Porzingis gets back, you could be up 2-1. That's the goal. Because as soon as Porzingis comes back, now Miles Turner is going to get semi-neutralized because Porzingis can go out there and guard Miles Turner. 7'3", shot blocking. Miles Turner is 7 foot. So that's a good matchup for Boston. Luke Kornet and Al Horford are being liabilities for these next 3 games. These next 2 games. If I'm Indiana, I am destroying any bench player. That means Hauser, Pritchard, and Kornet. I am destroying them. If I'm on Indiana, McConnell, Naismith, Jaden Smith got a couple minutes yesterday. I am looking to attack and attack often. Now, for the Celtics, there's a lot of things that they could do better, but they're not going to. We know this. They live and die by a 3. They're going to keep shooting them. Can they get on a hot streak in game 2 and just go nuts and bonkers, 40+%? Yes. The problem is that the other team can do the same thing. And because the other team can do the same thing, it's going to come down who is going to want it on defense. And yesterday, what I saw was that Indiana defended. Indiana defended well enough to win in Boston. Not that they're afraid of the moment, of the environment. And Rick Carlisle said it plainly. It was my bad. We lost that game because of me. Okay. Well, it's time to bounce back in game 2 tomorrow. There is a certain part of me that believes that this can go 7. I know it sounds crazy, but hear me out. The way I look at Tyrese Halliburton at 24 years old, and the way that he impacts the game, the way that his game looks, it looks like he is a coming out party, kind of like Steph in 2015. Although I don't think Halliburton is gonna take the title, and even Steph in 2015 playoffs, he was disgusting. But what I'm saying is, the way that I see him, I feel like he's gonna be one of those players that has 7, 8, 9, 10 all-star games. 2, 3, 4, 5 all NBAs. I just feel like he's that type of player in his baby form, still 24 years old. Not at the quite level of Ant yet. Ant has a different type of level, a different type of talent level, a different type of mentality. But certainly rising. And if Tyrese Halliburton wakes up to the next form of his career in this series, then I feel Indiana can keep up with the Celtics and win. But I don't think that's going to happen this series just because of what I saw yesterday, especially the shot selection. In the most opportune times, he was taking threes. He should get middies when they're there. He's a good mid-range shooter. So I think he's hunting the 3 too much, although he shoots it up 40+%. When the ball's popping, Indiana's unstoppable. For multiple possessions, it is pop, 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 score. Pop, 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 score. Pop, 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 score. And Boston didn't go on a cold stretch per se, but they didn't shoot well from 3. They didn't shoot themselves from 3. If that continues happening because of the Indiana defense and not just because of shot variance, which is basically make or miss, Indiana's offense is a lot more sustainable than the Boston offense. And what I mean by that is that Indiana could get a lot more easier looks than Boston can get in the half court. Even though Indiana mostly plays in transition, even off of makes. So overall, what I think about this series is that I think that this series goes 6 games. And with a possibility to go 7. I don't think it will go 5 just because automatically I think I'm penciling in Indiana getting both of them at home. They're a different team defensively, and offensively they're a juggernaut at home at Gainbridge. So I think it's going to go 6 with a possibility of going 7. Is there a possibility that Boston loses game 7? 1, anything can happen in the game 7, and 2, they've already done it against Miami. So yes, it's a possibility that they can lose game 7. It's all about, can Joe Mazzulla understand? And I don't want him to understand because I hate the Celtics, but if we're talking just strictly like, basketball and what they can do to actually just win or use their best attribute to win, they are so much more a physical team than the Indiana Pacers, but they don't exert it on the offensive end as they should. There's not enough slashing. There's not enough taking you off the dribble to go to the rim and get a foul, even though they got 30 free throws. There's still a lot of settling for threes and jumpers and turnarounds and inefficient offense that just doesn't look good, especially when you're missing shots. The problem with missing shots against Indiana is that if you miss shots against Indiana, that rebound is jumping 40 feet in matter two seconds, and you're getting a layup by Obi Toppin, Aaron Naismith, whoever the hell was at the other end. But I think Boston has enough, especially if KP comes back, to definitely finish off the Indiana Pacers. On to the next series. Tonight, in a matter of about an hour, 22-year-old superstar Anthony Edwards goes up against the 25-year-old superstar Luka, with Kyrie by his side, a first ballot Hall of Famer, and most people think he's the most, well, not most people, but a lot of people in the media and in basketball think that he's the most skilled player ever. On that point, I feel like there's like 3 or 4 guys that you can put in that ilk. I'll just say stylistically and as watching, there is very few people that have a pretty as a game and as beautiful as a game to watch than Uncle Drew Kyrie Irving. Kai is a magician with the basketball. He's kind of like Messi on the soccer field. You never know what he's going to do. And he doesn't know what he's going to do. He's talked about it before. His opponents have talked about it. He plays off of instinct. Every dribble's an instinct. Every counter is instinct. It's something crazy. It's crazy. Ambidextrous, can make any shot he wants, shoot from anywhere, get hot like nobody else can. And Ant said, hey, I'm a guard Kyrie, so we'll see about that. And I love that from Ant because, like, one is like, damn, you're really challenging that man after he's been docile the first 2 rounds. But at the same time, I love the competitiveness and the edge and the tone that sets for the series. Like, yo, this ain't going, hey, I'm here. I am here. I'm going to guard you. Now, on the other side, they're not going to guard him. They're going to put Derrick Jones on him, PJ Washington, and I believe they will get cooked alive by Ant. So, like I said, I got Timberwolves in 6. I just feel like Rudy Gobert, you're going to see the real impact of Rudy Gobert on the floor in this series, not having to deal with a Jokic and more of a traditional type of bigs in Derek Lively and Daniel Gafford. However, Luka loves that lob. He loves the kick out passes to the corners. The main thing about this series, if I must be honest, can Jaden McDaniels do the job that Lou Dort was doing on Luka, even though Luka's not at 100% right now? And the next X factor is that, is Kyrie sleeping or is he actually slumping? If he's sleeping, the Timberwolves have a problem. Unfortunately, as much as I love the Timberwolves and I believe they're going to win this series, I don't think Kyrie is slumping. I think he is focusing on the defensive end, especially in that OKC series with SGA and everything. He knew that he should have to take that matchup, personally, because they were going to try to attack him on it, and let the offense run. I think Kyrie's going to get in his bag in this series. A couple 30 bombs, and the reason I feel that way is because Kyrie is just, this is the Western Conference Finals. If it's a time to turn it on, it's now. You don't wait till the finals. You got to make it there first. So in order to make it there, you lollygag the first 2 rounds, focus on your defense. All right, cool. We want Cleveland Kyrie. 2016 Cleveland Kyrie. And in order to get that, he really has to he's turned down some good looks from 3, some middies, floaters at the rim to kick out pass. Like, he's transition threes. He's turned down a lot in the last 2 series. I don't think he's turning down shit this series at all. Nothing. He taking it. Yeah, he might be passive like maybe the first quarter, but I expect him to start of the third quarter, the first person that touched the ball is going to be Kyrie. Like, that's the type of series I think that Kyrie is going to have. I think Luka will have an efficient series, but I do not think he's 100%. And by Luka not being 100%, he can't average 35 a game. He can, but it's going to be a lot more exerted energy, pain. He has to deal with Jaden McDaniels. It's his size, not his size, but his height. 6'9", length, one of the best perimeter defenders in the NBA. Like, that's what you're dealing with Luka. And then Ant, to deal with Luka, Ant's 220. He's 6'6". He's fast. He's going to play straight up defense. And they're just going to switch back from Luka and Kyrie. And that matchup offensively and defensively is what's going to really tilt this series, because I believe Cat can average 20, 25 a game in this series. Now, will he do that? We'll see. But if Cat averages 20 and McDaniels just gives you 15 a game, if McDaniels can give you 15 a game, Ant could go off for 40. Because the thing is, I think they're gonna try to do the same thing they did with with Ant in the Denver series, and maybe try to put 2 on the ball on him, see that if he can make the reads. But at the same time, like I said the last episode, there is nobody on that Dallas team that Anthony Edwards is looking at is like, oh, that's a real defender. No, man, he thinks everybody on that team is cookies. Barbecue chicken. Get in this post with me. I'm about to give you every single Jordan fadeaway, Kobe head, shoulder fake, like turn around. Like, I'm going to give you the bag. I think he's going to be more efficient I think he's just going to get better as the challenge gets stronger. I think Gobert is going to have an impact in this series because he will deter people from going to the rim. That's why he's a 4-time defensive player of the year, because he deters people from going to the rim. You saw it in Denver. People did not want to go in there. Aaron didn't want to go in there. KCP didn't want to go in there. Jamal didn't want to go in. Like, nobody wanted to go against Rudy. And then Nas Reed comes in, and that pulls Gafford and Derek Lively out to the 3-point line. Same thing with Cat. And there's your entry point for Anthony Edwards. Because just with Gobert on the rim, and if Gobert's not in the game and it's just Nas Reed and Cat, it's gonna be drive downhill city all day. Dunks, layups, middies, and then you're gonna get so polar, you're gonna get so panicked by the drive that he's gonna hit you with that step back. Bing! And once that step back is going, the three's going for Ant. Hey, he going, and he going off. 12, 13, 16, 18 straight. Like, it just takeover mode. You know what it is? And I think there's going to be different takeover modes in this series, respectively. I think you're going to have Ant takeover mode moments, Luka takeover mode moments, Kyrie takeover mode moments, maybe Cat takeover mode moments. Then you have the role players that can really pop off. You have the PJ Washingtons, you have the Tim Hardaway Jr.'s, the Jaden McDaniels, the Mike Conleys, Nickeil Alexander Walkers that could really just go off out of nowhere. Nas Reed. But the reason I picked Timberwolves in this series is because that defense travels. That defense will go to Dallas. And if they have a chance to sweep, they will sweep. Like, if Dallas comes out faulty or something like that, like, they will capitalize. And that's why I think Timberwolves win this in 6. I'm excited to see the game, man. I'm excited to see Ant in this stage. I just feel like he's just going to put on another performance that we're just going to look at and be like, damn, man, wow. This kid, man, 22. And I'm here for it, man, for real. On the baseball side, I think that Shohei's looking to repeat as MVP. And to do that in baseball is hard because not just voter fatigue, which there is, but especially because it would be his 3rd MVP, which that's insane. And 2 in a row, non-pitching. It's even crazier. He pitches next year. But also, I think it would speak to his greatness that he's just a DH. And maybe they would get mad that, like, he's not pitching, he's just a DH. Yeah, but he's hitting 360. Leading the league in homers. I'm sorry, bro. I don't care if you're a DH. If you're DHing like Big Papi Ortiz, you're going to win another MVP. Ain't nobody challenging you in the National League right now. Like, the closest person to what he's hitting right now, and I'm not even talking about average, I'm just talking about bombs and impact, is Aaron Judge. Because he just recently woke up and, I'm a sleeping giant. But that's in the AL. In the NL? Maybe his own teammate, Mookie? That's the only people. I mean, Corbin's not playing like that. Phillies, Bryce ain't playing like that. I'm talking about people who can win MVP. Like, Tatis ain't really playing like that level, the Shohei Ohtani level. I don't think nobody can get there. So right now, like, if you early MVP, I think it's Shohei. And I mean, the team success shows, but we knew that was coming. Man, you got a lineup of Hall of Fame. Like, one of the greatest, versatile players in the history of baseball, and Mookie. One of the best first basemen ever in Freddie. And then Shohei, arguably the greatest player of all time. Like, we knew the wins were gonna come, especially with the pitching staff. But him being the leader of it in the 2-hole, hitting 360 already has over 60 hits in the season. We are not in June. We are mid-May. What? This man's hitting 360, over 60 hits, first player to 60 hits in this season. Same thing with Ellie. Ellie gonna be special, man. This man has 30 back. 30. Let me just make sure that I'm right, because I saw it and I saw it so fast that I might have not believed it. So let me make sure. Let me make sure. Steals. Got 30. We're not in June. This man has 30 bags. You know what he's going for? 100. You want to know the next closest? Bryce Terang from the Brewers. He has 18. Junior Caballero has 17. Bobby Witt Jr. has 16. Ronald Acuna has 15. Ellie has 30. He's averaging like 2 steals a game. Now, if the bat just comes around, Ellie. Once the bat comes around, I think that he'll be an MVP discussions for the rest of his career. At least in his prime. And he's only like 21, 22. So, like, you know, people like that, like Ellie with 30, you know, Skeens, disgusting. Yoshinobu, disgusting. Shota Imanaga, disgusting. Jung-Hoo Lee, before he got hurt for the rest of the season with his shoulder, which is a huge loss for the Giants, especially in that lineup. That was supposed to be their MVP candidate. Now Conforto has to step up, and Tyro Estrada, you know, Soler has to step up. You got a lot of people to step up to fill in that number one spot. You know. And then you got the special players this season. William Contreras, you know, Julio, where are you? Wake up. Vladdy, where are you? Wake up. Bo Bichette, Carlos Correa, you know, Breggy, Altuve, Jordan. You know, some players, they just haven't woken up. I mean, it's early, but it's never too early to wake up. There's pitchers also that haven't woken up either, or having down seasons. You know, I'm not seeing crazy numbers out of Aaron Nola, Jordan Montgomery, you know, Nasty Nate, Nathan Evaldi, Zach Eflin, you know, even Freddie, you know, fastball Freddie Peralta. Like, I haven't seen domination from anybody who was, you know, in the discussion last year of like super pitchers. Besides, you know, Glass now been pitching great. You know, Cease has been pitching good. But nah, it's all the new kids. Tarek Skubal, you know, Cole Reagans, Grayson Rodriguez, Corbin Burns is still there, Max Fried, you know. But like, you know, the pitcher, you know, JV's not doing well. Max Scherzer's hurt. So is DeGrom, Kershaw. So we're not seeing the legends either. I mean, besides JV. And he hasn't pitched great yet this season. But overall, I think the season is very young, but we're starting to see some trends. And those trends, I believe they're going to continue, especially Shohei Ohtani and Elly De La Cruz. I think William Contreras is basically having an MVP season. I think that he's going to stay at this type of level. I mean, he's hitting 334 with like 10 bombs, a bunch of doubles, barely strikes out. You know, Randy Arozarena hasn't woken up. Cole Seager still hasn't woken up. So there's a lot of people that still have to like make an impact in this season. I think they will eventually, but you know, for example, the Yankees is right now, what I've seen, this is purely Soto, Judge, Stanton. That's it. That's what they're living by. Like, you know, Volpe has to, Trevino, you know, even Rizzo, like you have to show up. Because these three are not just going to carry you the whole season and into the playoffs. This is not going to happen. But overall, man, it's really fun. Baseball is super fun. I'm really excited for the rest of the season. But, what we're talking about here is NBA for the next few weeks. I mean, we are breaking down these games. I'm going to break down, tonight on next week's episode, and we're going to break down. It's a game every night, so I'm breaking down. We're going to go through these series. I'm really looking for two things out of these two series. I'm looking for the absolute, not emergence, but just the true breakout of Anthony Edwards, where like everybody's like, oh my God, this guy can really win a championship at 22 years old. And I'm saying that not like the media people believe it. They finally see what I've been seeing. But I'm talking about the masses, where they're like, Anthony Edwards, it's, oh my God, and you got people reacting to Anthony Edwards and stuff like that. Like, if he wins the chip, I cannot wait to watch that documentary, that Chasing History by the NBA that they do every year. The documentaries and the pieces that they make on YouTube, like Pio Trex Productions, with the NBA players saying how good Ant is and describing how it is to play against them. Like, I can't wait for all of that for whoever wins. Now, I do want Ant to win, and I believe Ant will win this year, but Luka's piece would be crazy. Kyrie's piece would be crazy. Tatum, I think Tyrese Halliburton will have a better piece than Tatum, to be honest, because it's like, okay, finally you made it. Like, this team was built to win a championship for you. You couldn't beat Curry because he walked you down. So let me give you KP, Drew Holiday, and if you don't win it this year, I mean, especially against a 22 or 25-year-old on the other side, I think Jaylen Brown should have his own team. That's just me. Send them to Miami. That's just me. I'm just saying, that contract is an albatross. I get it, but I just feel like he's in the James Harden role. Like James Harden was at OKC, and even though he was a six man, but Jaylen Brown is starting. I just feel like Jaylen Brown really has that dog in him for like a Miami or send him the Knicks. Like, he really has that dog to be all NBA, all star. I mean, he's been all that, but I like that the focal point. I believe that maybe not the left hand, but he has the shooting, he has the power, defensive shots. Like, he has everything that you need. So I'm really excited. Go Wolves. But overall, I'm excited for everything. This is what you're about to see in this Mavs Timberwolves series is elite all-time offense versus elite all-time defense. And I'm here for it. I love you guys. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Comment, and God bless you guys, and I'll leave you with the outro.
El fenómeno que todos quieren ser.